Alright, today I'm going to tackle the long overdue project of replacing the LED lights on the front of our Riverstone. Stick around, I'll show you how I get it done. Okay, so as you can see, some of the lights have gone out here. And this is all the rubbers coming off, stuff like that. I think at one point this had come detached and kind of got wind whipped, and then I used a little bit of adhesive to re-stick it, but the damage was done. On the other one, it has completely come loose here, and it's been wind whipped, and a few of the lights are off as well. So I ordered some replacement lights from my dealer. Here they are. They come on this little spool. They give you two in the kit, so that's good because there are two that need to be replaced. Up here, let's see if I can get up here without killing myself. So they just kind of stick on with double-sided adhesive, I guess, or it was on there, and peel it and stick. And then up here where the penetration is for the wires, they've got some really tight in there rubber sealant of sorts. I'm going to use a non-marring knife to kind of get that out of there, and then I'm going to see how the connectors are, if it's soldered or if it's just some kind of like a crimped on butt connector or something like that. So I'm going to go and do that off camera, and then I will come back and describe what I actually did. Okay, so I did use this little non-marring chisel to break out or rip off this rubber. You can see how easily it cuts through it, and I loosened that up, and then I took this off, and there was enough material in here blocking that, so I used a pair of needle nose to kind of clear that out. I didn't want to go and just kind of pull the wires trying to get that out, because I didn't know what the wires were attached to, and I would run the risk of disconnecting them. So now that I've got that out, I can take this out gently, and I can see that there are a couple of crimp connectors on there that are holding this in. I can't get them out, and I might be able to with a little bit of finesse, but it's not worth it to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the wire here instead, and reattach the new lights there with a couple of crimp connectors. Then I'll feed those through individually and put some sealant back on there, and take it from there. I'll show you the next steps as soon as I get that done off camera. So now I'm going to get ready to cut these wires. What I want to do is, if I cut these wires here and then this falls off, obviously, I'm not sure how much weight is pulling down on cables in there. I don't think it's a lot, but as a precaution, what I'm going to do is take a piece of tape and just secure that so that when I cut this off, I don't run the risk of losing the wires down the hole, which I'll never get out. The other thing I did is I cleaned off all the adhesive residue that was here. Got a little bit more. I just used a lint-free cloth and a lot of pressure, and then I took just a little bit of degreaser and have wiped that down just to get a clean surface for this double-sided, well, on the new one, it's 3M double-sided adhesive. You just peel it off and then stick. All right, it's difficult to do all of this on camera while I'm up here on the ladder, because I can't use two hands and hold the camera at the same time, so I'm gonna have to just piecemeal like this. Okay, well, hopefully you can hear me, hopefully you can see. I figured out how to mount my camera up here. So I've turned the power off. I'm just gonna cut the wires here. I'm gonna give myself enough slack, so I'm gonna cut it as close to here as practical, which is about there. Remember, I shut off the power, so you can cut both of those conductors at the same time if you have power turned off. If you didn't have power turned off, you'd cut one conductor at a time, but you shouldn't do that anyhow. So that's not a recommendation. That's just if you want to be a risk taker, do that. All right, so now I'll strip those. Yeah, they're pretty small wires, so I'll strip about a ½ inch off each one. There you go. And then I've got some, I'll twist those just to make them easier to put into the connector. And I have my new set of lights here. gonna go and take off all this stuff here, and then what I'm also gonna do is while I'm doing this, I'll put them underneath the tape up here so that they're being held on to while I do this other work here. All right, so I'll take the red and the red, put them into my connector here. Don't need to twist them, the connector will bind them together. I'm putting them in as deep as I can. I'll use the blue crimp. Hit it a couple of times just to be sure. Give it a little tug. Boom, done. All right, get to the other one. They're snug. Crimp and blue. All right, so that's that. So now what I'll do is I've got the, I don't have to run the risk of the wires falling in, so I will feed them all back through. Probably have to put one in before the other just because there's so much here. The hole's not big enough and there's enough cable. All right, so I got that going in. I'll just wrap that. Oh yeah, I'll take that off. It's going to be a problem later on, of course. Well, I'll leave it on because I don't have scissors up here to cut it off and it's not going to tear off. Shouldn't be a problem. All right, so that's basically how that's going to go. Before I do anything else, I'm going to go and turn the power on and make sure that they work. Oh, actually, I have a handy dandy app on my phone that I think I can use my Vega Touch video here, how I upgraded that. And let's see, waiting for it to spin up. Go to lights, see if I can put on the cap lights. Can't see where the cap lights are. Oh, front, bath, exterior. There you go. Boom, on, off. Doing that from the Vega app. There, and I got to check. All of them are working. Oh, see how that pulled that in? Ooh, almost lost it. Good thing I was holding on to it. All right, so I'm gonna tape the end of it down here, as a matter of fact, so that doesn't happen again. And what I'll do now is just kind of line up and then figure out how to fill that hole up here. Oh, you can't see that on camera, but anywho, there's a hole up there that I gotta fill. All right, back in a bit. All right, there's that hole I'm gonna fill up with some adhesive in a minute. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to align the lights down towards the bottom, so I know if I won't start here. I'll move them all the way down to the bottom. You can't see that, it's off camera, but if you're on your rig, you'll know what I'm talking about. Line up towards the bottom. I'm gonna peel from the bottom. There's this double-sided tape stuff. And like I said earlier, I've cleaned off the surface. So I'm going to just peel and stick it at the same time. And I'm gonna recommend that if you do have to replace them, replace both of them and not just one. If just one's broken, go through the effort of replacing both of them, because they may have changed color after aging out a little bit. LEDs sometimes do that. I can tell these are actually brighter white than the ones that were on here, and that could be due to age or something else. So this is actually, I am going to go a little bit higher here. I'm going to unpeel this for just a second. I'm going to go a little bit higher because I noticed I had a lot of room up there. There, so that's a little bit better. Just make sure I do it the same way on the other side. All right, so now what we're gonna have to make sure we do is get enough material The original came down like that. So I've got some stuff I'm gonna try to fill in there. I'll put links to all the materials I'm using down below, so you will know. Here is what I'm using for the adhesive, black adhesive. It's Permatex Black Adhesive Sealant Silicone RTD number 81158. I've used it on a number of different projects. It's worked out well, as you can see. This one's almost gone. So I'm gonna just try to fill that gap in as much as I can, and then also cover from this little piece of heat shrinking up over the wires. And then I'm gonna have to do something to kind of smooth it out and make it look neat. I'll figure that out as I go. I got the nozzle here is pretty narrow. I'm going to start with it a little bit thicker to get that in. And what I might let it do is fill up the hole and then let that set for a little bit. Although it's going all right, I guess. Just kind of loading it in there quite heavily. Try not to get it all over the place. I'm going to smooth it with my finger. I should probably be wearing gloves to do this because I'll get all over the place. I'm going to smooth it in there. Just to get it started. Alright. So I mean, it's high enough off the ground, you won't see it, but you do want to make sure that it's thorough. Again, I might use something to smooth it down a little bit other than my finger. I'll let this first coat set up a bit. Okay, so I just put another layer on there and smoothed it out with my finger. I was trying to use a rubber glove, but it tacks too much to the rubber glove, so it's easier to use your finger. And you know, you can just come back, if you get anything on the paint, you can just kind of rub this rubber stuff off. It comes off pretty easy. And I'll come back and hit it a little bit more, but it looks pretty complete. So I think that side's done. It's all stuck in there pretty good. We'll call that one fini. All right, here I am on the other side now. You can see how nice and smooth that was originally, but I wasn't able to duplicate that like that on the other side. So what I'm gonna do is tear these lights off. Down here, I kind of used adhesive before, so a little tight, but after that, they should kind of come off pretty easy. Yeah, there you go. All right, I'll set up the camera and show you how I get this stuff out. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this over here and tape it just in case I don't want them to get pulled back down. So I'll tape them just to hold on to them for me while I cut that. Stand by. All right, probably some background noise, lawnmowers and wind. It's starting to get cloudy. I think the storm's coming, but we'll see. So here's that tool. Watch how easy this slices through. Boom. And notice it's non-marring. That's why you use it. So if you were using something else that was metal, that would have just gouged the daylights out of that paint. So this is why you use this tool. There you go. I should be able to peel that out now. And then again, I'm going to be gentle on getting this out of here. Just slice it all off with this. There you go. There's the wires. They're coming through pretty easy. Right, and then I can just use this to kind of finish this up. And then you got to work at it a little bit, but be able to do it, no problem. And then I will use my needle nose, make sure my microphone is still plugged in, to get this out of here. Now this is a metal tool, so you got to be a little bit more careful with this. I don't really got to clear out too much of it. As a matter of fact, leaving some in is probably a good thing because it fills the gap. I won't have to put so much material and suspend so much material in there when I'm refilling it. But I will have to get the new connectors in. So, but I'm going to leave it like that, and I'll just force those through. I'll take this out as far as I can, just to about right there. Remove my tape and tape this instead. Now I'll go and turn off the power, cut these and splice on the new ones like I did, and I'll also go through and clean up all the debris out of this channel, all the old adhesive, residue, and then clean it with that microfiber cloth and just a tiny little bit of degreaser. If you are going to use something, a solvent of some sort or a degreaser to clean this, you may want to do it in a non-conspicuous space somewhere on the rig somewhere else, so you know that it won't damage the paint, because that would be unfortunate. All right, I'll go do the rest of this stuff off camera because the camera is in my way. All right, the project is done. Let's see if you can actually see the lights in the daylight here. I think you can. You can tell they're installed, they look symmetric, they're all bright, they're not flapping in the wind anymore. It took me about an hour and a half to do it, and that includes camera work and jockeying the ladder around. The most difficult part about it was actually getting up there. My ladder, I couldn't get my ladder in close enough or high enough to be comfortable on it. So what I did is I backed the truck in underneath, put the tailgate down, backed underneath the fifth wheel a little bit, put the ladder on the truck bed, and then got up there. So yeah, not too bad. Not sure what my next project will be, but you know the drill. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. If you think anybody else will get value from this video, please share it out to them. Any questions or comments, put them down below, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.